Hey guys, what's up? It's all about Mike 18 here with another TV episode review. Guys, I apologize for the fact that this review is about 4 or 5 days late. But I just got a chance to watch the newest episode of The Walking Dead tonight, and that's what I'm going to be reviewing in this video. I'm going to be reviewing the 12th episode of Season 4. This is Season 4, Episode 12. The title of the episode is Still, and it's the latest episode of The Walking Dead. As you guys know, I'm reviewing all of the episodes of the of Season 4 of The Walking Dead, and right now we got 4 episodes left. Sunday's episode is the 13th episode. So this is the 12th episode, and the reason why the review is so late, guys, is because it was Oscar Sunday, so I watched the Oscars instead of The Walking Dead, and I've really been busy this week, not really with, things that are going on in my life, but things that I've been doing for YouTube. I've been covering Bates Motel, the return of Bates Motel, the results of the Oscars, and I've been massively covering the Transformers Age of Extinction trailer. So I've been really busy. I've been making a lot of videos, and I just didn't get a chance to watch the new episode of The Walking Dead. But now I finally got to watch it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. Of course, guys, I'm going to spoil the whole entire episode, so if you haven't seen it yet, don't watch this review, but I'm sure most of you have already seen it by now. But anyway, I'm going to try to keep this review a little bit more condensed, because since the episode's older, it makes no sense to really go in depth with every single thing that happened. Had I been reviewing this the night it aired, I would have honestly gone in depth like I do with all my other videos, all my other Walking Dead reviews. But since it's been out for a few days now, I'm just going to keep the video a little bit shorter this time. I'm going to try to. So, guys, my overall thoughts on this episode, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan in this episode, and I know a lot of people are automatically in the comments, they're going to be like, oh, you can't have action and zombie kills in every single episode. No, that's not my problem with the episode. It's not that there was a lack of zombie kills, there was a lack of action or a lack of furthering the story in this episode, the actual story of these survivors. It was the fact that the show was just very slow, and the fact that this whole episode felt honestly like a waste of an episode. Now, I really don't like saying that for some of my favorite shows like The Walking Dead, but I feel this episode honestly could have been condensed. Several scenes could have been, even taken out of it, and this whole episode could have been put with another episode. The story of this episode could have been put with some other episode. That's honestly how I felt about this episode still. It wasn't one of my favorites, and really, it's not only that there's a lot of character development, which I did like. It's the fact that there's just 2 characters in the whole episode, and while one of them is arguably one of the best characters, one of my favorite characters on the show, Daryl, it's just the 2 of them. And I was watching the episode, I was thinking to myself, could you imagine if it was just the 2 of them the whole entire show? The show would be a lot more monotonous and very slow. So I just can't wait for all of them to congregate and meet up together at this terminus sanctuary, which I hope is where they're all going to end up meeting up. I would assume that's where they're all going to meet up at. But anyway, basically the whole entire episode, it's just Daryl and Beth going around. They have a shelter in the beginning. They go to a country club in the middle, and towards near the end, last half of the episode, they go to that abandoned hovel that Daryl and Michonne had found before the attack on the prison. So that's really what happened in tonight's episode when you look at it. But overall, the main thing of what was going on in tonight's episode, in the episode, was Beth wanted her first drink, okay, for whatever reason. And why would you bring this in now? I mean, honestly, out of what's going on, I mean, I guess, yeah, her father just died, Herschel was just killed, she feels down, of course, but she feels good enough to go out on a mission to go get her first drink, and she wants to get drunk, and she wants, Daryl to go with her, of course. And I don't know, that's just, the overall plot felt kind of dumb. Honestly, the first half of the episode felt really slow and not that exciting, but right when they got to that abandoned hovel and they really finally started to get in there with the character development, they really They explained a few things with what was going on with Daryl and everything. That's when I really liked the episode, but the first half wasn't a huge fan of it, honestly. The character development really didn't kick in until the last half, and, the explanation of what's wrong with Daryl and what Daryl's feeling and all that, so that really didn't start to happen. But anyway, beginning of the episode, I don't know, that Daryl and Beth hide in the trunk. They're basically just going from place to place. They find a shelter. Daryl, the boss that he is, kills and eats a snake, and I bet half of the women that were watching the episode started flinching as they were watching Daryl eat a snake, and I think Beth was even eating a snake too, which was, I don't know, that was odd. And at this point, Beth wants to go get a drink, and Daryl he's quiet, and he's not really saying anything. It's kind of like he's very apathetic. He has no emotions whatsoever, and I guess we would assume that just the fact that the prison is dead, and then everyone else is probably dead, has probably just had a great effect on him. We probably felt, that's what I felt in the beginning. That's why Daryl doesn't feel right, and he feels apathetic, and he just can't express emotion. So that's what I speculated in the beginning of the episode, and why Daryl wasn't really saying anything. And he was like this in episode 10 when it was him and Beth, and I was like, what the hell's wrong with him? But now I understand why, and I'm glad in a way that they had that component of the episode explained. But anyway, so Daryl and Beth go to a country club, overrun country club. There's a few walkers around, and they find this peach schnapps drink, and because Beth wants her first drink, and Beth just can't drink it for whatever reason, and Daryl's just like, you know what, I don't want this to be your first drink. We're gonna go somewhere else. So they leave the country club. So really, was that necessary? No, they have that scene in there because you can't just have them go to that abandoned hovel and spend that whole time in the. You can't have them spend the whole episode in that hovel. So you had them go to the country club. You had them in the woods in the beginning. So that was really, those scenes were just very unnecessary in my opinion. Really, the scene that I was waiting for, which was at the hovel, and that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for some exciting character development, since there wasn't a lot of zombie kills in the episode, and there wasn't any other characters other than Daryl and Beth. And so Daryl and Beth arrive at this abandoned hovel, and apparently Daryl and Michonne, I guess, had been searching for the governor or something, and while they were, they found this place, and there's a bunch of moonshine in there. So Daryl hands it over to Beth, and Beth is at first like, she takes a sip, and she's like, she didn't like it, and then she's like, she keeps drinking. She drinks everything in her glass, and so in the end, she gets Daryl to drink with her, and slowly but surely, Daryl is starting to reveal a lot more of his past, and I like that, because we really never knew too much about Daryl's past, other than, it wasn't kind of normal, especially with having Merle as a brother. He's had some sort of, not violent past, but some sort of, different past, and that's why I was entertained, and I wanted to really learn more about Daryl's past in this episode. And as they're giving us hints as to what has gone on in his life before this all happened. I was really glad that they had that in this episode. But anyway, at some point when they're in the hovel, I'm just gonna say house. Saying hovel just feels weird. Daryl and Beth are playing a drinking game, and they're both drinking moonshine. They're asking each other questions, and that scene was nice. And that is really when we finally get some answers in this episode. Why is Daryl so mopey? Why is he not saying anything? Why is he very reserved? And Beth finally takes it out. It kind of explodes at one part of the episode on Daryl, and we finally get some answers, and that's what I was waiting for. Beth ends up asking him a question: "Were you in jail?" And I think she was really not really trying to find out his past. Maybe that's what she thinks of him. Maybe that's what she thought of him. I doubt that, though. I think she was really just trying to get some information out of him from his past, and maybe she asked the wrong question, because that's what really sets Daryl off. He gets very angry with that. And he hears a walker outside, so he drags Beth outside and forces her almost to shoot and kill this walker with his crossbow, because she's never killed a walker with a crossbow. This makes Beth very uncomfortable, and she just stabs the walker in the head. This pisses Daryl off, and the two finally have a heart-to-heart right outside of that abandoned house. And Beth just, explodes on him. She asks him, why do you not have any feelings? What's wrong with you? What, you didn't care about anyone at the prison? And is that what's bothering you? She asks him this, and this, angers Daryl sort of, and Beth feels that Daryl looks at her as, some weak girl, can't hold her own out there in the world. I think the exact word was, he looks at her as some sort of dead girl because she can't hold her own like Maggie could, or Michonne could, or Carol, or someone like that. And Daryl finally, explains why he's as mopey as he was in episode 10, and why he still is now, why he's very... why he doesn't have any emotion at this point. And I really like this reason. I really do. It was mainly because he kind of felt guilty and responsible for the fact that the prison was destroyed and the governor arrived. He even says that had he not stopped looking for the governor, maybe the governor would not have shown up. Maybe he could have found the governor, killed him before the governor ever found that group that he used to attack and destroy the prison. So Daryl feels responsible not only for Herschel's death, but for everyone else's death, because he honestly believes that everyone else is either dead or, in a really bad situation. He doesn't, and that's another thing that's honestly getting to him. The weight of everyone else at the prison has affected him, and he feels like he let them all down, and like it was sort of his responsibility to go after the governor, his and Michonne's kind of, and he didn't fulfill that responsibility, and that's why the governor showed up again. He was still out there, and that's why he attacked the prison. So that is why Daryl kind of doesn't have any emotion, because he did care for all of those, and we know that. He did care for every member of the prison group, and just the fact that he let them all down in that way. The governor did show up. Honestly, everyone's greatest fear that the governor would return is what really has upset Daryl and just really set him off and is making him act this way. So I like that explanation, and in that scene, the acting was beautiful between Norman Reedus and Emily Kinney, Daryl and Beth. It really was. I gotta praise the performance as well. I wasn't a huge fan of the pacing and the actual story in the first half. The second half shined, not only because they got into the character development, they gave it to us what was going on with Daryl, but because of how great Norman Reedus was in the show, was in that scene, and Emily Kinney, they really gave great performances. So Daryl even breaks down in tears, starts crying, and Beth comforts him. And it's later on at night. They're at that house, and they're just talking with each other. And we finally get some more insight on Daryl's past, because throughout the episode, Beth is again guessing what Daryl did before the apocalypse broke out, as Zach was doing in the first episode of season 4. He was trying to guess what Daryl was before, and Daryl finally admits that. And I really like this about the episode. And you know what? It's believable, and I like where they're going with that. Apparently, Daryl was just a drifter. He was really a nobody. He even says that it was just him and Merle going around. They were really nobodies during before the apocalypse broke out, and I really like that last scene between him and Beth, where he's explaining all of this. He even tells a story about how he once, he was so drunk he got into this, arguments, this scuffle, whatever, with this other guy, and Merle was involved too. And you really get a taste of Daryl's past, how he really didn't have the best childhood. He really didn't do many things with his parents, Probably he didn't have the best parents. You can assume all of these things based off what Daryl's telling us. So I really like how they slowly delved into Daryl's past. They definitely, strengthened his character development, in my opinion, and they finally gave us a reason as to why he's been feeling the way he has. And so I really like what they've done with Daryl in this episode, what they've done with Daryl in the whole series, and this really was a heartfelt heartfelt and somewhat heartbreaking. That he really got to me. Norman Reedus gave such a good performance in that scene where he started bawling. It really got to me. I really started to feel bad for the guy. I really didn't. I didn't expect that. So I got to give praise to this episode. It was emotional, and I liked that. So then Daryl and Beth are still conversing, and Beth explains to Daryl how she envisioned none of this. She didn't see any of this happening. She saw Maggie and Glenn giving birth, Herschel becoming a grandfather, them living for a long time, Herschel dying of old age quietly, and she feels like she was stupid for envisioning all of this. And Daryl says, "You know what?" And I like what he says here. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but in a world like this, you got to do that. He basically was saying, with the way the world has turned out, it's fine if you envision, something good, So I really do like that with the episode, with that final scene in the episode. And I also like, I forgot to mention this before, Daryl feels that the way, how horrible this world is, he feels it was basically, he was living the same hell that he's living now in his past when he was younger and when Merle was still around. So you could tell Daryl definitely had a rocky past. And while he doesn't fully come out and tell us, every problem he had with his father and his parents. You could tell his parents were not the greatest, but we don't really get what they've done to him and Merle. But you could just tell that even though Merle's been an ass for most of Daryl's life, you could tell that it's been the two of them. It's really been Daryl and Merle, the two of them, the two blood brothers sticking together throughout all of it. And basically at the end of the episode, Daryl and Beth, Daryl wants to go back inside the house, and Beth is like, you know what, how about we burn it down? And, as a sign to, burn down the demons in Daryl's past. And I really did like that part. So they do burn down the house, and they do burn down that house using the leftover moonshine, and then they leave, flipping the house off like that. And right before that, though, Beth says something very interesting that I caught wind of, and I'm like, that's interesting. She makes reference that Daryl is going to be the last man standing. Beth is going to be gone one day, and the way Daryl is, he's going to be one of the last survivors, basically. That's what she basically said. And I really did like that, because Daryl is definitely a strong-willed person. He's come so far. He's lived a shit life, apparently. And since he's lived that shit life, that is what makes him so strong during the apocalypse, because it's a shit world too. So he's really had a terrible life his whole entire life, not just when all the crap hit the fan and the apocalypse broke out. So that is why, honestly, that's why Daryl's been as tough as he had. That's why Daryl is as tough as he is. And I really do like that. So in the end, guys, that's basically everything that happened. Nothing really exciting or groundbreaking in the show happened in the episode, but they propelled the character development of Daryl, and they gave us a reason as to why Daryl was so upset, and it really did make sense in the end. So overall, guys, I'm going to rate the episode. I'll discuss a few more things. I'm going to cut the video off. I'm going to give the episode, I wasn't too a huge fan of it really until the last 20 minutes of it, 15 minutes of it really. The first half really kind of was slow, pacing issues, and it felt very unnecessary, and it didn't even really need to be there. They could have had that whole storyline of Daryl and Beth drinking moonshine, and that whole scene, and then they could have shown Maggie, Bob Stuckey, and Sasha, and their survival story of what's going on with them right now. So the beginning felt very unnecessary. With that being said, I'm going to give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. I really wasn't a huge fan of it. Not one of my favorites, and I'm not saying that because there wasn't enough zombie kills. There was still, I looked on StorySync, there was about 7 zombie kills, so, I don't have a problem that there's not enough zombie kills, but I feel that it was just the way that they tried to develop the characters in the beginning, the way that they told the story in the beginning just wasn't exciting, it just wasn't that fazed by that. So, not the best episode, but, probably not one of the worst. It's not as bad as half of the episodes in the first half of Season 2, which were just boring as hell, and I had no interest in them whatsoever. But I feel they just need to get off of the storyline of all these characters split up, and they just got to get them back together again. So that's what I'm waiting for. But anyway, the shining parts of this episode were definitely the performances. Norman Reedus and Emily Kinney were absolutely, utterly fantastic in this episode. And also, the look into Daryl's past and the explanations of why Daryl has been feeling very apathetic. I really liked all of that. I love how they burned down the house as a... One sec. It's one of my friends. We were having an epic argument over the Transformers series. But anyway, I'm a huge fan. He's not. But anyway, I lost my train of thought completely. But yeah, overall, I liked those aspects of the episode. And then, of course, them burning down the house in the end, getting rid of Daryl's demons, kind of forgetting about a few of the past events they've discussed. That was nice. Other than that, guys, very slow, not that engaging, really. Pacing, issues. I'm not saying it wasn't a well-directed episode or anything like that. It just wasn't one of the most exciting or most entertaining episodes of the show. And the character development really didn't kick into the last half, which really wasn't that enjoyable either. So that's made the first half so very unexciting. With that being said, guys, what did you think of the newest episode of The Walking Dead still? Did you like it? Did you think it was boring? Which is understandable, but you can't have zombie kills in every episode. That's not how I feel. Or did you like what they did with it? Let me know down below. And leave your predictions for next week. Looks like things are going to be pretty intense next week. They're going to pick things up, and hopefully they'll maybe I want to see them go into Bob Stuckey's past, because Bob Stuckey's going to be in the next week's episode. I want to see them, explain more of his past, his problem with drinking. They really just hinted at it, and I want to see that happen, They went to Daryl's past, now I want to see them go into Stuckey's past next week. That's what I'm hoping for. Looks like they're going to get it. I hope that the remaining characters, Maggie, Stuckey, Sasha, Daryl, and Beth, find that terminus place, because that's where almost everyone is at this point, and that's really what I'm waiting to see happen. So, 4 episodes left, guys. Let me know what you think is going to happen for the rest of the season. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Sorry the review ran longer than I wanted it to. But you know what? I did have a few things to discuss about this episode. So, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Bye.